I'm broke the boss, I flip the script. Super Trucker Podcast got me fully equipped. Left the noise behind, now I'm stacking green. Voyager Nation made me live the dream.
What's your strategy to avoid cheap or broker abused lanes? What I'm talking about, like those by default historically known lanes that everybody knows is cheap, like for example, freight out of Florida. Do you do anything to make sure that you catch the shifts in the market if it ever shifts?
Yeah, so I mean it's twofold. So the biggest thing that we're looking at is how much am I getting to get in there in the first place? What's the damage control, right? So if I already know, obviously, we're getting into Florida at $1 a mile. Getting out of Florida at $1 a mile. I'm not coming into Florida at $1.80 a mile.
Of course.
That just doesn't help anybody, right? And then a lot of it too is just always looking at, because I know the big conversation is always, what's worth it? Do I deadhead out of Florida? Do I stay in Florida and wait for a load? What am I doing? At that point, I always go based off of time. I will never lose a day. My goal should always be to maximize the day. So if you're telling me at 10 in the morning you're ready for a load out of Florida, we're getting a load out of Florida. I'm not telling you or asking you to deadhead out of Florida. Now, let's just say it's a rough day in the market and now it's 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. My chances of finding you something just became that much smaller. So at this point, it's, if you're a driver that's willing to do it, let's discuss the option. And if the way I always look at it too is just overall calculation. If with your deadhead miles and your next load and loaded miles calculated together equals more than what you would have gotten including a load, then let's go. That's our damage control right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's where that balance comes in. So always kind of looking at things like that, and then always Florida I can't avoid. We live here. They got to come back here. However, if there are areas in which I can avoid being in those difficult situations, I typically try to avoid those. So a prime example of that I always say is like the Northeast. There's a love-hate relationship with the Northeast. I typically don't go much further than like upstate New York. I'm not a fan to start experimenting with,
New York City.
Definitely not New York City, Mass, Vermont, Connecticut, Maine. Like I feel confident with New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, that little area, Jersey, that tri-state area there. We can move out. Ohio's right there. Like there are areas that are close enough that I know I can work with. Once you start making your way further and further and further up, it's that much harder to get further and further back down. So I don't experiment with that too much. Obviously, you need to be there. We got things to do. If that's where we got to go, we got to go. But it's just understanding like how do we do that damage control? How do we limit it? Is always looking at that, and then ultimately rates. If a short haul is, for example, just like Florida, you always get the short haul. I'm not moving you from here to Texas for $1 a mile. Let's go to Alabama or Georgia, and then from there we'll bounce over to Texas. Very similar to, Colorado. If I'm getting you into Colorado for a good rate, let's just bounce out of there. But now we're in Kansas, we're in Texas, whatever, and let's just keep moving on from there and make sure we can make up the rest of the week after that.
All right. So what do you think about, let's say you have a truck in Denver, Colorado, or Crazy Hair, North Dakota? Which one would you choose to work on? By the way, Crazy Hair, North Dakota does not exist. I just made it up. What I mean is like in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere, North Dakota. I'd probably rather be in Denver than middle of nowhere, North Dakota.
And I'd rather be in North Dakota.
Really?
Like in the middle of nowhere. Like always. Like pick any major metro during the slow times and pick the smallest village 200-300 miles out, 400 or 500 miles out of that major like dead market. I'll take that no man's land. Yeah, there are only gonna be a couple of loads. We're gonna be far, but there are also gonna be barely any trucks. And now we're talking. Now you can't ignore me no more. Now we're negotiating, motherfucker.
Yeah. And again, that's where the luck comes in, right? Because out of Denver, what you're gonna get out of there is shit, no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you're and I don't even and that's where the clear report was like out of nowhere. If I'm at least some semi close to somewhere decent, like normal in North or South Dakota, I've moved all over Nebraska and the Dakotas. Like I can do that, but it's just same thing. But a lot of it's knowing your driver.
Yeah.
Are we willing to deadhead? Are we willing to move? What are we willing to do for it? Because if I have a guy that's telling me on the regular, like, I will not deadhead more than 50 or 100 miles.
But this is my counter question. Like, how freaking crazy is that? And I dealt with drivers like this, and I was never able to understand it. If I'm let's say if the total run is, your truck is right here at mile marker 0, the load is at mile marker 300, and the delivery is at mile marker 500, and I'm offering you 500 miles total, loaded and empty, and I got whatever $1,500 for it.
Oh yeah, that's
and now for this driver to say I'm not gonna deadhead more than 100 miles, bro. Like, okay, fine, let's pick a load right next to you, but that's $1,000 now.
right.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
So
Honestly,
what do you think? What do you think is there?
It doesn't make sense at all. I'm with you. I'm pushing for the extra money. I'm pushing for, man, like let's just go. Especially if the appointment times make sense. Man, that's a no-brainer.
You got to be creative.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I push. Especially like we're talking about coming out of Florida, man. Like sometimes you can deadhead 200 miles coming out of Tampa and be in Lee or Jacksonville or whatever up in that north I-10 area, and you can find something. And sometimes you just got to deadhead another 150 and get closer up to like Tifton, or deadhead another 150 and be just south of Atlanta and be able to get a good load. Like, it all really depends on what can we find, or go up to the coast and go through Savannah. Like, it all just depends on what can we find, and can I make it worth your time and my time, right? So, I'll it's an extreme example, but I'm gonna give this example anyways. I had a driver here 2 weeks ago who had a load coming out of Florida. Dispatched and everything, en route, load's canceled. Now it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're looking, he's like, listen, John, I'm already on the truck. Clock's already running. I'm gonna just start heading north. Find me something. I'm posting this truck North Florida, Jacksonville, Savannah, everywhere, Atlanta, the whole nine. And I'm searching and I'm like, how can I do damage control? Because I don't want him to deadhead crazy.
Or way too far so he can
and then come back. Right. So I'm over here looking. I don't typically like to send people blindly, like, just go up. No,
Yeah.
I want to have an idea of where you're going. Man, this load pops up out of nowhere. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was just outside of like Charleston, South Carolina. That's like 500-mile deadhead, easy.
Yeah, money talks.
And I was able to get him from there to just outside of Tulsa area, if I'm not mistaken, like Sapulpa, Oklahoma, or something like that, for 25.
Here we go. Let's not talk about what happened after that. But
No, we can talk about that. We can talk about that too. So I got him over to Sapulpa, Oklahoma, a $2,500 2-day run.
all right.
So typically, even coming out of Florida at $1 a mile, that covered all of that. I think total miles, he was still over $1.50 a mile.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, boom. Posted him again out of Sapulpa. Call comes in. They were offering us a load out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, to go to Portland, Oregon.
Oh, that's the truck that I was working on?
Yeah.
Like training somebody to work on.
So we ended up getting him $4,800 to go from there, from Arkansas, then to Portland. It was a 24-hour at the receiver. So our guy was able to pick up, drive, still do a 34, and deliver that bad boy Monday morning.
Did you ever get the info what happened to that load going to Mulberry?
So I did, but I'll tell you this, just to wrap it up, 48 and 25, our guy leaving Florida, ending up in Oregon, closed out his week at $7,300.
Here we go. Very
Right?
good. Legal.
Completely legal, doing his 10s, doing a 34. Everything worked out, just gravy for the guy.
Owner-operator partnership is very real. I got tons of guys who are making $4,000 take-home. Learn how you can do that by giving me a call at 863-342-5171. We are conveniently located in Lakeland, Florida. We are a Florida-based trucking company that is here to provide you resources to be successful. So once again, it's 863-342-5171.
Now, yes, I called on the load from Portland, Oregon, to Mulberry, Florida. They had it posted for 5,000. I called the guy. I shot him 6,000.
Of course.
Of course. Guy hangs up on me. Like 2 hours later, load is still posted. Now it's posted for 53. Call him back. Now he doesn't want to answer my phone, man. But I was able to get the guy covered for like 54.
Okay, so there we go. As long as we're in at the end.
It was a different load. Was able to still get him covered. But yeah, it worked out.
Was it different load or that was the same load just by different broker?
It was different load because it picked up in a different city. So he had a deadhead a little bit for it. But he was happy with it, man. We're at 13. I was right around 13K in 2 weeks with the holiday week. So I kept him busy all throughout. He goes, man, John, that's $6,500 a week, man. I'm good.
Can't complain. So
absolutely.
How do you prioritize loads when multiple drivers need load at the same time? How do you manage that?
So number one, I mean, your first cheat code, post a truck.
Of course.
That's your cheat code, man, because now you're working smarter, not harder. People are calling you as much as you're calling them.
Hold on one second. By the way, most of you guys out there watching this video, unless you're working with Voyager, I can almost guarantee your dispatcher don't even have you posted.
It's possible. And I'll circle back to that. We had a driver in Ohio, got a load from Ohio to upstate New York. Total was like 400 miles, $2,200. And that load wasn't even posted. We were able to book that load because he was posted. They called us on that load.
Here we go. That's important, especially because here we go. This is how the brokerage works from the inside. If I'm the broker, right, and if I have a load in a very high truck, low freight area, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm gonna post that load, my phone is gonna blow up. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be talking to a bunch of idiots that I don't even want to waste my time on. Some of them are not qualified. Other people are just hallucinating there, you know, like all kinds of all shades of life, right?
100%.
But if I'm searching the trucks, I sort them out by the preferred carrier. Mm-hmm. And now, let's say this is why, guys, having a very good relationship with any broker, any reasonable broker, is very important, because this is how you get picked. Mm-hmm. Now, you sort them out by the carrier, from your top tier carrier to the better don't book carrier. Mm-hmm. And then you start calling from the top up. And let's say if Voyager has a good relationship with that particular broker and he did the search, we popped up somewhere within probably first 10 carriers or so on. Mm-hmm. We got that phone call, the truck got covered.
Right.
If that truck was never posted, you would be just calling and negotiating some nonsense and
Pretty much.
lot of struggle for nothing.
Yep. So posting a truck helps a lot. One of our guys always says, as soon as that truck is booked, post them again for that other spot that they're going to be, and just always work the line, and just, you never know what you're going to get. But that, I would say, is hack number one. Definitely post a truck. Number two, one of the things that I always say is, typically you're always usually working multiple trucks at a time anyways, but always try to do like one good, one bad. Why? Sometimes when you're just in a bad market, man, you get into your own head and you're just having a hard time book a truck, and you even forget you're a dispatcher. You even forget, like, man, can I even book a load? What am I even doing today? Yeah. And that's where you book a load out of that good market, and you're like, hell yeah, I got my mojo back. Your chest is back up, your chin is high, and it's like, let me go bang out some more calls and get this bad market guy covered too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's all in your head, man. It's just always kind of pushing. And number three, the biggest thing I always say is, even if a load is posted with a cheap rate, call. You just never know what you're going to be able to get out of that. I've literally had rates posted, and that's literally the broker just testing the waters. They didn't even know what to get, what they would be able to get. They have people calling, and they don't even know what rate they want. I shoot them a crazy rate, and they're like, thank you. Like, you actually gave me something I could work with. And I'm like, all right, cool. So am I covering this? You're going to pay me that? Even better.
Yeah, because I think some of that is important, because some of those rates are just suggestions. Mm-hmm. People also shooting for idiots, man, because there is some dispatcher out there who has no idea what the truck looks like.
Right.
And yet he's dispatching. He has no idea what the owner operator has to deal with. He has no idea what the truck cost. He has no idea what the fuel mileage is. He doesn't have no idea how much diesel costs. The hell, he may not be even physically in the U.S.
Possible.
Probably never even came to visit. And now, he's just throwing numbers out there. And if nobody keeps that guy in check, there is always going to be some broker taking advantage of that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because, for example, I've seen situations to where, it's a misposted load. So the way it's posted, let's just say it's only 300 miles for $900, right? But once you get the rate confirmation, you punch everything in. It's one pick, one drop. It's just a little confusion in the pickup city. And now it's a 500-mile load.
Right.
And you check it, and you check that broker, and all of a sudden, oh, it's my bad, my mistake. And, okay, can you pay more, or it's a no-go? What are we going to do here?
Right.
So at least somebody's checking.
Right.
But how many people just gonna book that load, send it to the driver? God forbid the driver is just as smart as that dispatcher. And now that load is moving for really, really cheap.
Correct.
And we're gonna find out that once it's gonna be the settlement time.
Yeah, and that's so the biggest thing is with dispatchers in general, you want to make sure you're working with someone that's confident, not only in what they can do, but just the same way they talk to you, they're able to go get a broker too. With that, actually, very recently, scenarios can just be so many different outcomes, right? So we had a driver that picked up, I don't remember, I want to say it was Arkansas. I really don't remember. I just remember the outcome. He was running a load to deliver in Maryland. And it was, I remember it was like $2,500 on just about like 1,200 miles. However, he's already moving, like he's loaded. I sent BOL, everything. He's already in transit. The broker calls and saying, hey man, they loaded you with the wrong product. The product he's supposed to be loaded with is supposed to go to Michigan, not Maryland.
More money, more honey.
So I'm like, all right. As soon as he says that, I'm starting to run the miles on the side, right? And I'm like, all right, my guy's already driven almost 200 miles away from the shipper. I'll be honest, man, turning him back around is going to affect everything. Clock, 34, like, it's not feasible for him to turn back around. If you're telling me that this is supposed to go to Michigan, I can have him go to Michigan for the same load, for the same rate you're paying me right now. He's, I think I might just have to bite the bullet on this one. When I called the driver, I'm letting him know, hey, this is what happened. And I was able to get you to go to Michigan, man, because that one's 200 miles less than you going to Maryland.
Hell yeah. but wait. I can guarantee you have a driver on your fleet that would be like, what the fuck, John?
Oh, yeah. Why? You know I don't drive to Michigan? I don't want to go to Michigan.
Why am I winning?
Right.
I shouldn't be winning.
No, man, that literally happened to me just this week, man. I had a load coming out of Florida, 1 pick, 2 drops, to go to Michigan. It was about 1,100 miles total for 1,900, which coming out of here is
pretty awesome.
Pretty damn good. The guy told me no. John, I don't drive up to Michigan, and I want to be regional, and this, and I'm like,
plus the snow in July.
Snow, yeah. Oh man.
And some people are very hard to please, and I think it's very important, just like for dispatcher and the owner operator, not to have hard lines, suggestions, guidelines. Fine.
Right.
Hard lines. You're just stealing opportunities from yourself. Like 100%. How many times we had like, the trial dispatcher who comes in and he wants to become a dispatcher and now he's training, right? And let's say, I would say, yo, call this guy. Ask them for $3,000. And everybody with experience acts just like John right now, already laughing at that.
For sure.
And then the freaking guy gets it. Why? Yep. Because he doesn't know any better. And he tries, and he got it. And maybe the broker on the other end was also training.
Right. That'll definitely play a part too.
Or maybe somebody, got screwed or whatnot, but none of that mattered. Keep all the options open, because at the end of the day, that's your every opportunity is your money. So don't just put hard blocks for yourself. Put it for other people. Right. Put it for your dispatcher. All right. All right. So I think that will conclude this week's episode. Let us know how often do you want to see John here, and then we'll see what we can do about it. Other than that, guys, please like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned. Share this video because this is a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, a lot of guidance for somebody who doesn't know industry that intimately. And also, if you are Florida-based owner-operator looking for the best carrier, freaking east of Mississippi, you gotta call 863-342-5171. Call to talk to Christian or Nina, and we will take care of your business because we are by far, I've heard, the best. All right, guys, take care. Be safe.
Owner-operator partnership is very real. I got tons of guys who are making 4,000 take-home. Learn how you can do that by giving me a call at 863-342-5171. We are conveniently located in Lakeland, Florida. We are a Florida-based trucking company that is here to provide you resources to be successful. So once again, it's 863-342-5171.